What's going on this morning? Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you're watching this. It was put on my heart this morning to come on and share something that I get no matter where I go. When I go around and speak with companies and teams and organizations, I always hear the same question, Donovan, how do you bounce back from failure? What do you do when everything you tried failed, or you put all your hopes and your dreams into something only to find out that you failed? And so I want to just kind of quickly share this today about how do you bounce back from failure? What do you do? When you put everything you have into something and then at the end of the day you fail, how do you bounce back from that? Well, one of the biggest things that happens is most people don't see everything that went into a person being successful. The world can kind of mix you up and it kind of trick you, especially with all the media and social media and stuff. You only learn about what happens when a person makes it big. You only see them, after the struggle. You see them with the pictures, you see them, you hear how famous they are, but a lot of times they never really tell you about what was the story like, what was the journey like? How many times did they fall? How many times did they fail? What was that like? And so if you're not careful, you can actually think that, and we can set up in our minds that failure is actually a permanent defeat, or to fail means that you're actually doing something wrong, as opposed to failure being a part of the process for your success. And so I'm going to share a couple things. I'm going to share a couple things today, that really just kind of helps you understand, how do we bounce back? How many people are out there now comparing your achievements to somebody else? You're looking at where you're at right now, and you're looking at somebody else. And at the end of the day, you look at it and what you come away with, I failed. I failed because I'm not where I think I should be. Or I failed because that person is doing this or that person is doing that. And so if we're not careful, we'll set up and we'll define in our own mind some things that's really not going to help us, move forward. And so I know for me, man, I've had a journey, and I'm sure if I ask you, you've had a journey as well. And in my life, I didn't get to where I was. I was fortunate to play 10 years in the NFL. I now do professional speaking and, work for the league and organization and stuff. But I'm going to tell you, I failed so many times in my life. Meaning I put forth an effort for a winning cause only to come up short. Only to get discouraged. Only to go through that mental process where I'm feeling like, man, is it ever going to happen for me? Or did I do something wrong? Or did I not have enough? Or am I not good enough? All the things that we go through in our mind, that we come up with when we look at failure in our life. And so I want to let you know and encourage you that failure is actually a part of the process. There's an author that I read a quote about this morning. He said, it's impossible to live without failing. He said it's impossible to live without failing at something. He said unless you live so cautiously that you might not as even well lived at all. And in that situation, you fail by default. Some people are trying to live so cautiously not to fail because somebody told them that failure is bad. You think about it, when for anybody that has kids, when that baby is starting to walk, and that baby starts to get off of the, hold on and then start to walk, you're like, come here, baby, come here, you can take a couple steps. When that baby falls down, do you call that a failure? Do you just write that child off as he or she will never be able to do anything in life? If you're honest with yourself, the answer is no, you don't. Because you know that part of that process of falling down and getting back up is all part of being successful. And look at it now, to this day now, that child had to fall. That child had to go through. That child had to take the steps, fall down, get back up, and so do you. So here's a quick 4 things that I want to share with you about when you fail and how to bounce back from failure. Number 1, you got to accept that failure is just part of the process. It is part of the process. I have a saying, there's no such thing as permanent defeat. You know what I'm saying? It's only temporary feedback. That's all it is. And you got to understand that this is part of the process. And when it's part of the process, you can embrace it. You can say, you know what? I can do this. Just like success is part of the process, so is failing part of the process. Number 2, you got to let out your frustration. I know it can be frustrating. It can be frustrating when you give all you have. You set your plan, you set your goals, you say, I'm going to do this. And something or someone disappoints you. And now you feel like, man, I'm a failure. And it's okay to let out your frustration. Whether you write it out, whether you talk it out, whether you have somebody else that you can talk it out, let it out. Because that's a natural part of it. It's a natural part of the process. The problem becomes when we hold on to that. When we hold on to those frustrating feelings. I know when I got finished playing the NFL, and I work with a lot of NFL guys now, when they finish the league and they're feeling like, you know what, I got cut, I got released, then they can start looking at their life as a failure because they're like, man, you know, my greatest times are behind me. And so what do I do now? And because they don't know about this moment, because they're not sure, because they don't know exactly what's going to happen next, they define it as I'm a failure. And then they hold on to those feelings. And they keep them bottled up inside because of denial, isolation. You know, they become bitter and they're confused and embarrassed. And so they hold on to those feelings. And when you hold on to those feelings, what happens is we're not meant to hold on to that negative energy, and it turns it inwards. And that's where a lot of times that depressive mindset comes in. I'm sure you may have the same thing. If you're holding on to unforgiveness, if you're holding on unforgiveness for yourself, if you're holding on unforgiveness for somebody else, if you're holding on to any type of feelings or emotional failure, if you're holding on to those things, you haven't let them out in the proper channel, then that stuff will turn inward. And that stuff can do you more harm. So number 1, accept that failure is a part of the process. Number 2, you know, as I meant, let your frustration out, man. Number 3, be brutally honest. Now this is the time, this is the section where most people don't do. Take personal inventory. Where are you at? What happened in that situation? Is there something that you could have did differently? Be totally accountable to it. You know, take personal responsibility. What could you have done differently to create a different outcome? Is there anything? What could somebody else done differently? You know, be brutally honest with yourself, because at the end of the day, until you're brutally honest with yourself, is there some skills you need to learn? Is there some things you need to read? Is there some people you need to talk to? Is it you holding yourself back? Is it something that your mom or your dad or somebody that you experienced in your life told you? Is it a belief system that you have about yourself? Be brutally honest, because until you're brutally honest, you can't move forward. You know how it is in class, in school. What do? If you fail a test, what do you got to do? You keep taking the same test until you learn the lesson. If you fail a grade in class, you're going to keep taking it until you learn the lessons. So my question to you is, what lessons is life teaching you right now? What lessons? Be brutally honest, because failure is part of the process. It's just temporary feedback. It's just telling you, hey, we got to know something. We got to do something. We got to do something differently. And so my question to you is, you know, as I heard my man Les Brown say, you know, life is a question, and how you live it is the answer. What is the questions that keep coming up for you about how do you move forward? I'll be totally honest with you guys. I don't have it, you know, and nobody does, but we don't have it all together. Life is a journey. And living this life on purpose, man, is the awesome part of it. And so that's why, man, and I shared with you guys before, man, when, you know, I mean, this book, man, I wrote this book, man, you know, it's called Next Level Motivation, Principles for Living Life to the Fullest. Yeah, I know it's hard to see it, but I wrote that because at the end of the day, man, I wanted to share, like, man, what are some steps, man? How do you overcome adversity? Yeah, how do you know your value? How do you set goals? How do you discover your purpose? You know, how do you do it? Because we all need help. And I had help along the way. And the 4th thing I just want you to know is I want you, as I heard Denzel Washington say, he said, fail forward. If you're going to fail at anything, fail forward. That just basically means that you're looking at life as the greatest test, the greatest teacher that you can ever have. And you're saying, I want to fail forward because you know what? I'm going to use every situation that I go through and I'm going to use it for my good. I'm going to look at it honestly. I'm going to let out the frustration that I have that when I wanted to do something and it didn't happen. And at the end of the day, I'm going to be brutally honest and I'm going to allow life to continue to teach me. And so remember, you guys, perseverance is a key. Perseverance is a key. That's one of the greatest qualities of life. In order to fail forward, in order to bounce back from any type of failure, you need perseverance. You need to keep trying. What if you as a baby, when you fail, you just gave up? You said, that's it. But what, you didn't do that. You kept fighting. You kept getting up. You said, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. I want to do it again. But how many of you are like that too careful parent that's like, I don't want them to fall. They need to fall. You need to fall. Because you need to get back up. And if you fall, and I heard Les Brown say again, man, if you fall, hope that you fall on your back. So, because if you can look up, you can get up. And I'm going to encourage you today, man. You can bounce back from every failure. It's a part of the process. Be brutally honest with yourself. And if you're going to fail at anything, fail forward, man. Listen, I'm Donovan Darius, man. Y'all share this message. Share this message on your pages, man. Let somebody know. Be encouraged. We're all in this thing together. And so y'all be blessed today. And I look forward to talking to y'all later, man. Post any comments if you got any questions about anything, or you just want me to give some, just any type of feedback on anything. At the end of the day, I mean, I love sharing, and I love, partnering with people in life. So if you have any questions, you got any things you're going through, put it in the comment feed, and I may get to it at another time. I may even do another morning encouragement. So that's what you do. If you got something that you want me to do a morning encouragement about, speaking a little bit things in the morning, go ahead and write it in there, okay? Give me a topic or give me something you want me to talk about, and I'll do it, all right? So we're in this thing together, man, all right? So listen, y'all be encouraged. Y'all be encouraged. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day, wherever you're at. Remember, fail forward, man. Life is working for you. You know what I'm saying? It's happening for you, not to you. Y'all, peace.